Hey there guys, it's Metro and I'm back with my main man Cop. This time we're taking a look at Mechagon Junkyard. This is unfortunately going to be the last video in the new player series on dungeons. At least we have some other ideas that we're going to do. But yeah, we're doing Junkyard. What do you think about Junkyard, Cop?
It intimidated me a lot when it was just a mythic one. Like it seemed like there was a lot of really hard stuff that was a huge barrier to entry for a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a very unique vibe to this dungeon. There's a lot of trash, a lot of variance in the routes you could take. There's even randomness into what the boss order is. You could effectively do any of these bosses first, but there is a little bit of a caveat that we're going to talk about. But before we do anything related to the dungeon, I just want to bring up that this is effectively a part 2 to the previous video we just made after the season began. That was on Mechagon Workshop, which is the upper level. I felt like much more confident making that video first. I didn't really feel that confident making this one because some of the things we just talked about. But there's a couple of criticisms that were brought up on that I just want to kind of get out of the way now, so we don't have this weird confusion going on here. People are saying, why are you only doing this on a 2? Why doing that? So the reason, this is not us doing a Mythic Plus. Obviously, we're 2-manning it. We're not here to try to do the best dungeon we can. We're doing this because on the PTR, you could make any key you want. So what we're actually doing is showing you what this affix looks like, Awakened, right? The Season 4 seasonal affix. We're here to show you that. It doesn't matter what key it is. It's not a 2 on purpose or it's not a 15 on purpose. It has nothing to do with it. We're just here, while we could also show you the Awakened affix, I figured we might as well do that. In the past, we kind of just walked through the dungeon because the Awakened affix wasn't out yet, so we couldn't do that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what I openly admit last time that there's some things I didn't know very well, and it wasn't. That's why I wasn't ready to make it. That's not like to say this video is not complete. It's not bad. It's just life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It came out a couple months, like not even a month ago. This patch. So I don't know everything. No, nor do you. That's why you're watching this video, right? So nobody does, and that's life. You learn, you get better over time. So all I was saying there was, in the future, I might know more about this dungeon, but whereas I made, say, like Temple of Citralis, like week 600, whatever it was in the patch, in the expansion, I'm only making this week 4. So those are some things to keep in mind here. Okay, so I'm not delivering a poor product. I think Cop's learning. I think other people are learning. But if there's anything that you guys know that I don't, feel free to tell me. And this one especially, I think there's going to be some things. So before we say anything else about whatever strategy is going on here, there's a couple things that you should know about this dungeon that make it very unique from every other dungeon out there. Number one is, like I said already, this aerial suppression unit or oppression unit, whatever, is flying around this dungeon, and it's meant to be part of the hard mode for Mythic 0. I don't see that. I don't know if that has any relevance to Mythic Plus. Maybe you could still activate it. I don't know why you would, but what it does is it basically throws down these things called walkie-shockies. They're these three little robots that you're going to actually see on the last fight as well. It's part of the fight. But if you go to that area, like right now, it's down by Gunker, the bottom boss. There's going to be these robots that chase you, and if they hit you with their mechanic, they stun you. So typically on like the Mythic or on the regular Mythic version where you do the hard mode, what people do is they just kind of chain root them, and then they just never deal with them. That's how a lot of people dealt with it. But it's just kind of there to deter you from going to that boss first. But it is random. From what I can tell, I don't think there's any pattern to it. I'm not sure, though, because so far this week when we've done this, it has been the same pattern every time. So maybe it isn't random. I don't really know. That's one of the reasons I brought up what I said a couple minutes ago here, is there's going to be more information that I learn over time. But all I know is just don't go to Gunker first. That's for sure. Like, who cares if it's random? You just figure out which one you're not going to first. I really like going to Gobamac first because there's a really nice pull here. If Gobamac was ever not first, I would then go to Trixie and Nano, whatever, Bondo's Yard is what people call it, the middle part. And if for some reason there was ever a reason to go to Gunker first, I don't know what I would do. Let's put it that way. But I don't think there's ever a case like that. You could either go to one of these two. So we're going to show you why that these are the good starts. And the other big thing about this dungeon here is that, well, I mean, this is kind of, hopefully people know about this, but there's these little robots on the ground. Did you know about these little robots, Cop?
I did. I have the darndest time seeing them though. Like I can never find them when we're going through.
Yeah, they're always in the same spot. So, you could try to maximize them. We'll talk about some of the more obvious spots, some of the better spots. They're always the same bot too. Apparently, I not like I'm pretty sure that that's the case. I don't think it's just completely random that I get the same one every time, but I'm pretty sure they're the same robot and they're always in the same spot. So, you could play a route around this. A lot of people do. You lose them when you die, though. And if you don't know what they are, they're like huge buffs. One of them does like a ton of AoE damage, and that AoE damage actually scales with the key level, which is very unique. So like if you're doing like a 20, that damage might be your like top damage, like by a mile. Like you might be doing like 50% of your damage. And then there's one that makes you, I think it's like a haste buff. And there's another one that's like a defensive buff. That one's really for the tank. But obviously, if everybody had them all, your whole group would be a lot better. So that's kind of there. Like it's meant to be like almost a nerf to the dungeon. But at the same time, if you die, you lose them. So I feel like this makes this dungeon quite punishing. Deaths are pretty common in this dungeon because of a couple odd things. And you really got to know what you're doing with that. So anyway, let's get started on the actual dungeon. All right. Now, the final thing that you might notice here is that there's a lot of trash. I think there's probably no dungeon that has more trash than this. Like we talk about Motherlode and Freehold having trash that you would literally never pull under any circumstance, yet it's still there. I think this dungeon takes the cake. I really do. There is trash everywhere, and we're going to explore it a bit when we have the obelisks. But for now, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and start the route. So I really like going this direction. I don't know anybody who doesn't go this direction. You could skip it by going kind of through here. See that bot that you see like kind of right through here. You could get through here and skip these packs, but I don't know why you would, because this is a great way to start a dungeon. For me, when I start a dungeon, I love popping everything on the pull. That's the best way to maximize your CDs, is use them on the pull. And in dungeons, you don't often get to do this. But here, we're going to light this pack up. We're going to, of course, you can pre-pot, you can use all trinkets and any offensive CDs. And this is a really big pack. In fact, you could make it even bigger if you want, which is what we're going to do right now. But yeah, there's a lot of mechanics happening on this trash, but really, it's not that dangerous. Like, there's the shockwave, which you want to dodge. There's the root. These mobs enrage. They mobs throw trash. But, like, in general, this is just a really easy... Like, some of this trash is just straight up just kill it as fast as humanly possible. Do 200k like Cop's doing here and just absolutely put it on blast. And that's it. You want to interrupt these enrages, especially. The bullies, I believe, the grinders, they all enrage. And then this mob here, this trash tosser, it kind of jumps around a bit. So if you're Death Knight or you're Druid or you got Ring of Peace, maybe you want to stop them from doing it. But I think you're going to find that a lot of this stuff is just, it's almost fodder here. And here you see the first shock bot. I'm actually going to put a marker down on it. This is a pretty big one because it's so early. And like I said, these shock bots are the ones that do the lightning damage, and they do a lot of damage. But yeah, so, if you didn't pull all this, you got these grunters here. This is another mob type that you're going to see a lot on this side. It doesn't, I don't even think they give count. I honestly think they don't give count. But they basically don't, like, you can't tank them either. They just, it says rampaging, attacks random targets. So Cop, in this case, is the random target who's getting attacked. It doesn't really matter, though. I mean, maybe on, like, a really high fortified, if, like, 5 of them attack the same target, it'd be a problem, but I don't know. So go ahead and grab this shock bot here, Cop. But as you see, this one's always here, so you can get this 100% of the time, and it's a really good way to start. So here's the obelisk. We're going to skip this for a bit, though. I want to talk a little bit about the rest of the trash here. So I like to get this, like, bone snipper here. Typically what I would do is I would pull that first pack and then the second pack with this thing, and then that's kind of a good, good base percent. You already get some good count here, and then you can skip a bit. So now let's go ahead and go in. We're just going to... let's just kill this where it is, okay? Again, not a video on the affix, but this is the tank one, and they nerfed the hell out of it recently. If you're watching this, obviously in the future, then they've nerfed the pretty much all of the obelisk mini bosses here. Now, typically what I do is I use that to skip some of this trash, but again, I don't want to confuse too many people. A lot of people are going to be doing this on sub 10 as well. I didn't really think about that when I made the last video on the Mechagon. So typically what I would do is I'd use this mob, drag it over there, and skip a lot of this trash. But let's talk about this trash, because it's actually pretty dangerous. Oh, one thing that happens here all the time is I get stuck in combat because of blood plague and blood worms. In fact, it's happened. Now we're good. All right, we can get out now. But yeah, it happens all the time. If these malicious growths aren't killed, then you usually are stuck in combat, which means a DK. But so this pack is actually pretty tough coming up here. And you're going to see a lot more complicated mobs. So you got these 2 grinders. They're going to do, the stuff that we've been talking about, the interruptible, blah, blah, blah. The trash tosser is going to try running away. And then the shaman's going to try rooting you. But typically, you know, this is kind of one of the first hard packs. Really, there's not a lot of trash in here that's like complicated. The stone skin, interrupt that. Enrage, interrupt that. Trash toss, you know, just try to prevent that with stuns. But there's a lot of stuff going on this trash. Grasping Hex, that's there you see the root. So we're going to be rooted. Not really a problem again, but it's just a lot of peskiness to this trash. A lot of things that you want to stop, you want to interrupt, you want to stun, you want to like prevent them. But it's really, again, like it's almost just pesky. The big problem here is this guy though. This bully is the real deal. We've aggroed him, so this is a really tough mob type. He does this headbutt, which is a knockback, and I fought this mob in various places. He'll knock me off like little little heights and stuff like that. It can be difficult if you get knocked off and knocked into other stuff, but obviously you want to dodge that. Now the big thing is this combo here, this shockwave with the enrage. The enrage is 100% damage increase, which again is interruptible, and then the shockwave is very dangerous once he's enraged. Let's put it that way. So I would definitely be careful. You see these bullies, there's going to be a couple more coming up here. That one patrols pretty hard, and like I said, I'd usually skip that pack, but yeah, you might end up having to pull them depending on where you are. So just if you fight that thing, there's a couple more coming up here. Just be aware that if you do not interrupt their enrage, and I believe it's a magic, so you could probably, or whatever, Druid could soothe it or whatever. I believe that's the case. But if not, either way, if it's on them and you get hit by that shockwave or probably even the headbutt, you might just legitimately get one shot. So I've seen that happen many times. Now, if we did not skip, I'd normally come up here and get this because there's another robot up here. This is a welding bot, so this is the tank one. And obviously getting that as a tank is going to be nice, but more of the same trash. You got a couple guys, the grunters, who are just going to be doing their own thing, the grinders who are going to be trying to, you know, be a little pesky. But overall, just a lot of AoE fodder on this side of the dungeon. But yeah, so there's that bot. Again, a guaranteed one, always here. So if you're a tank, you definitely want to come and get this thing. And then you're pretty much in good shape. You have one damage dealer who's going to do a lot of damage with the shock bot. And then you have one tank, or maybe even a damage dealer as well, who might need that welding bot. But anyway, so now let's talk about this scrap bot. So there's a couple mobs of this nature in this dungeon. Effectively what it's going to do, it's pretty much only going to do two things. It's going to do this gyro scrap here, which is basically just a whirlwind. You want to just kind of get out of its circle. You see pretty well-defined circle. But the big thing that's actually problematic here, let's let it do that. Exhaust, there it is there. This exhaust, a smoke cloud interferes with targeting. 9,000 nature damage every 1 second. So it actually does damage being in that. Oh, and then it also kills itself. So yeah, don't get killed by it when it dies. But yeah, if you're in this, you can't actually, this cloud, you can't actually hit it. Like, especially, actually, maybe if you're in it, you can hit it. But one way or the other, you got to move them out because your ranged are not going to be able to hit it. I'm pretty sure you want to just move it regardless. But either way, that cloud is a problem. We're going to fight a couple of those throughout the dungeon. So that's something to keep in mind. Over here, you've got a couple more of these mobs. It's just the standard, like very low danger trash. But you want to clear this out because this boss is very unique. Probably one of the more interesting bosses the game has ever featured. And you definitely don't want trash clouding up this, especially on a week like maybe, you know, like Sanguine or Bolstering, something where the trash aggroing on a boss could be very detrimental. Even if I skipped, which I'll show you where we typically skip to. If we were going to skip, we would take the obelisk over, basically like over in this area here by these bones. We'd come out here and then grab all this stuff. Just kind of, again, just kind of get these out of the way. Another scrap bot, so you're going to have the whirlwind. You're going to have the death strike or whatever. When the mob dies, it explodes. And then you're going to have the cloud on the ground that you can't stand in. You won't be able to hit the mob. So yeah, I'd come out, pull all this. Then I would have pulled that pack that we talked about just then. And then we'd pull the bullies, and then we go right for the boss. Oh, look at those. Man, Twilight Devastation is so strong. But anyway, yeah, as you see, the mob's in that cloud, so you just want to move it out. Now here's the 2 bully pack. This is a pretty complicated pack. But again, just whatever. Just kill them. Make sure you interrupt. That's the big thing. These 2 targets are among the hardest mobs that you'll fight in here, and they have very dangerous mechanics. So like I said, those shockwaves, just make sure you're out of that. As you see Cobb get knocked up in the air. Enrage, I'm going to kick that. Hopefully the other Enrage gets kicked too. Or like I said, you can probably just get it off with the Druid or a Hunter. But yeah, that's about it. As long as these don't give you too much trouble. Again, you might get knocked back by that headbutt. You might get knocked back into the boss. I've seen that happen a couple times. But overall, the trash on this side is pretty easy. So let's talk about the boss now. This is a very, very unique boss. And one that actually gave a lot of problems this week that we're recording this with Explosive. But I think they changed it. I don't really know. Basically, this boss just summons like a ton of ads. Like I'm talking about like an innumerable amount, so many that you couldn't count. But he also gives you a way to kill them, that is, not him. So you're gonna see these 4 things around the room, these stolen shock coils, but also the stolen scrap bot. Well, there's actually another one all the way over there too. I never even noticed that. But anyway, there's these things over here. He's gonna hit you with electricity, long story short, and you're just gonna light up these stolen things with that electricity, and it will basically kill all the trash for you. Like literally, the trash just gets one shot by it. If you don't do this somehow, I don't know how you wouldn't do this. It would be hard to not do it. But if you didn't do that and you had to kill all this trash, you'd probably just die. I mean, this is so much mobs that you're not going to have threat on any of them because they're all those stupid mob types that just run around. And they would definitely overwhelm you. So this fight is probably one of the easier fights in the game. But if you're ever at a point where he gets overwhelming because this trash isn't dying, or the mechanics in general are killing you, then this could be pretty tough. It's a very unique encounter, but this is really good for the shock bot thing that we talked about. So let's take a look. He's also got a great little crown there. I think a lot of people probably don't notice that. He's got a nice little crown, and he even makes a Game of Thrones reference with said crown, so that's nice. But yeah, he's gonna do rumble. So this is just just physical damage. If you stand in these things, you get stunned. Stun. It's a small stun. But there's your mobs. You see just tons of mobs coming out. He's going to do a tank mechanic soon, which is effectively what's going to charge us with lightning. And here it is there, charge smash. Now you're going to have a couple seconds to do something with that. Everybody gets hit by it, so Cop had it there, and he charged up that one. I charged up this one. Ideally, you want to charge up this robot, though, because this robot kind of just runs all around and does a bunch of mayhem. And he's got some really, really cool voice lines. So let's get those voice lines going today. It's a really, I think, yeah, must do it at 100 energy. I never actually noticed that until now, but I guess that's when he does it. So when he's at 100 energy, he's going to do all this suite of mechanics. But otherwise, as you see, we actually got a bunch of mobs out now, and there's nothing to kill them. You know what I mean? So here's the charge smash. Yeah, it's at 100 energy. You have 0 seconds to comply. I love that. Halt, you have 0 seconds to comply. What do you think about that?
I think that's nowhere near enough time.
It's very little time, and I think that's the point. You don't want there to be a lot of time in this fight. You want these mobs to just get killed, and they're going to do so with this electrical thing and with this robot. You see this robot's just spinning to win. Have you ever spinned to win?
I am a monk, so I have spun to win many times.
You have spun to one? Or what? I don't know how you would say it. That would be what? Yeah, I don't know. You can do it again, though. So like I said, everybody gets hit by it, so I just got to make sure that everybody lights a different one up. Basically, there's 5 targets. It's very important to die in this fight, which Cop did very good there. But yeah, as you see, like, it's overwhelming. Like, when all of these grunters are on one target, it can do a lot of damage. So you want to kind of passively AoE here. You don't want that to be your focus, because as long as these electrical things are up, the mobs are just going to die anyway. But yeah, basically, like, you have to kill these mobs one way or the other. So it can get difficult, and I bet maybe on a really high key, it can be really difficult. But anyway, it's not actually trash. As you see, no crown for king, kind of a reference to Season 1 Game of Thrones. I don't know, maybe it's not. But either way, good show. So let's keep moving. Now, that is Grunter, or whatever. Gabamech, sorry. That dude's dead. Gunker's the bottom one. But so now this is going to move. So every time you kill a boss, this moves. And I'm like about 150% sure that this cannot go where a boss is dead. So that means in this pattern where Gunker is first, that means then Bondo's Yard is covered next, right? And as you see, it is going to Bondo's Yard. So I'm not 100% sure of this, because I haven't done this a billion times yet, but I don't think it's random. I really don't. I think it just goes, it starts at one place and then it always goes to the next place. It's based on what you kill. Like if we killed Trixie and Nino after whatever the hell their names are next, then it would go to, it's not going to go there. It would just stay at Gunker. Actually, it's a good question. I don't know. That's why, I'm not 100% sure what we're doing yet, but either way, I don't think it can go to a boss that you haven't killed. So I always like to start that boss off, because that boss with Lust is really nice, especially because there's so many targets. It just feels really valuable. So here, we're going to see more of these scrap bots. Even though we're not going to go to Bondo's Yard next, I still like to go this route here. And, it's mostly because it's just a really good way to skip some of the harder trash. We'll show you some of this trash. As you see, these mobs are obscured, so it's hard to attack them. Just move them out, especially these grunters. You want to kill these quick because they're, ganging up on your healer or something like that. But yeah, we're going to cut through here, and I'm going to show you a little skip here almost that you can do. Not really a skip, but, it is possible. And yeah, basically there's mobs here. We actually still have this mob marked to the skull from before. This is that pathway I was talking about when we began. Now, if we were going to Bondo's yard, we'd go in this direction, which is, I mean, part of why this is complicated to explain, because there's a lot of different options here. But we're not going to go that way. We're going to go to Gunker next. So instead, we're going to hug this side here. Now, watch this. Now, because the shock bots are at Gunker, we are accidentally going to aggro some. And as you see there, this is what it looks like. For some reason, we can't. I'm not able to get over this. Anyway, yeah, you just jump right over that, and then you see it's going to aggro those shocky talkies. There they are. So as you see, they're just going to walk to you. They can't be killed, and when you get in them, they stun you, I believe. They're supposed to stun you. Maybe if they don't on Mythic Plus. I don't know. Obviously, you don't want to have this happen, but typically you would just ride right by this. And now it is possible to skip this pack here, these scrap bots. It is possible to skip... Oh, well, you aggroed more, so just... No, don't bring them over here, dude.
I'm sorry, there, right? I'm programmed to bring them to my tank.
Yeah, just die. We're not trying to kill it. That's one of the packs that we're trying to skip, so there you go. Great example of mistakes that you can make. Don't aggro this pack. This pack is a real problem. Well, it's not even really a problem. It's just trash that you don't need, so I don't really have to find a way to die. But here's a good example of what's going on here. There's a lot of trash on this side here as well that's just like, I don't mean, why is it even here? I don't know. I don't think anybody would ever go this way. There's some robots here. Looks like a grease spot here. But yeah, other than that, nothing really. So yeah, good example. Don't aggro this stuff. You know what I mean? You really want to. You don't want to be overcounting this dungeon because there's a lot of trash, and you really want to stay. So now let's go back and do this all again because I want to show you exactly what you have to do here. Because you make this mistake now, this is a big mistake. We can't make this in a real key. So yeah, I'll show you exactly what we're doing here.
Well, you know what happened was I was avoiding those shock bots, and I slid down the hill and into the.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen on a real key, too. So you got to just realize that those shock bots aren't that dangerous. So you just want to hug the wall here. For some reason, I'm not making that jump. But yeah, just make the jump. And then just keep hugging the wall here. Run right by this pack to our left. Oh, actually, my God, we aggroed the spider, too. Jesus, what is going on here? All right, so that normally wouldn't happen, but this is a good example of the problems you can have. So as you see, if you actually just cut across here, well, cop aggroed that, too. If you actually cut across where I cut across, you wouldn't aggro. Okay, let's start again. Let's keep dying here, and we're going to show this how it's supposed to be done. Because this is a good example. I'm glad we're actually failing this because this is keep deciding. Like, for real, if we keep messing this up, this is it. The key's over. We can't do this if people are going to keep aggroing extra trash. So maybe this is a good example for why you shouldn't do it. I don't really know. I've never had trouble making this skip before. But either way, you can skip about 3 or 4 different packs that are in the way there. And I think you really want to do this because if you don't, you're going to be way overcount. You really don't want to pull this stuff. Like, the other option is to just go straight down this line here or even kind of go around here. So, like, you wipe the first time. You can kind of just do that. You can kind of weave in and out of this trash. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different options here. But one way or the other, I would rather go the way we're supposed to go. Hug the side here. I guess don't get too close to this, this crawler. Just kind of stay on a little bit to the left of it. And then, like I said, you typically could skip this pack, but we're not going to because we need it for count. And I believe it's very easy to pull anyway. Like, if there was going to be something that got aggroed, it would be this pack. So, just again, the gyro scrap mechanic. These mobs also heal. We have yet to see it. We're probably not going to see it in this video. But when you do this key on an actual, like, you do this for real, these mobs have enough health that they're going to... There it is there. Repair protocol. If that doesn't get interrupted, it heals 100% of its health. So that's not good. You don't want the mob to heal 100% of health. Happens all the time where, like, one target's low, and the other one's, like, everybody's, like, moved away from it because it's doing the gyro scrap, and maybe it's in the dust cloud as well. And then just nobody interrupts it, like right there. Cobb got the interrupt last second. That was pretty good. Otherwise, it was about to heal the full. And that's pretty devastating. Let's put it that way. So anyway, we're on our way to Gunker. And on the way, there's this pat here, okay? You might not see this pat a lot. It pats really far up there. Like, it goes all the way up here. But this is one of the harder mob types in the game. And on a higher fortified key, I have to say I would really prefer not to fight this mob. But it's really not that bad. It just does a lot of AoE damage. So it's kind of like the Mariner, if you remember from Maw Souls. Kind of a mob that's like, man, it does a lot of AoE damage, but it's good count. Like, doesn't have that much health. It's got more health than most of the trash in here on its own, but it is perfectly skippable. I just don't know, like, if it was in this position and we got here right now, is it worth sitting here for like 20-some seconds to wait for this thing to walk by? I'm not really sure, but either way, if you fight it, It just does a bunch of AoE damage. We're going to see that same mob type elsewhere, and we'll talk about it then. But here comes another welding bot on our left here, and this area is really good. It's got a lot of robots down here. So if you haven't gotten them in the other areas, which we'll show, this is a good place to get a lot down here. The first area that we showed, there's not really that many of them. There's a couple there, and you could download MDT, Mythic Dungeon Tools. It's a really good add-on, and I believe it shows you where the robots are as well, so that's really good. But otherwise, you can just commit them to memory. Maybe even just come in here on 0 or something and just kind of mess around and see where they're at. But so this area is also unique. Now, in order to spawn the boss, we have to complete this kind of like little mini event. These toxic monstrosities. They have another really funny little see this robot talking there. He says something that I think is absolutely hilarious. As you see, the robot is like literally stuck in the body of this thing, and it says mobility compromised, and it's just like kind of stuck in the thing. It's just so funny. I love it. But anyway, you have to kill 3 of these to start the boss. And there's a couple. There's one here, one that pats around the circle. You see it down there. And then the third one in a pool of water down here. So the big thing is on like affixes like that are going to be dangerous trash-wise, this is basically a mini boss. So you don't want to pull this just willy-nilly. You don't want to try to combine this with other trash unless you're 100% sure you're going to kill it. So let's just kill it solo. We'll see. It does have some mechanics. The main thing it does is it does this like pull-in mechanic, and the mob like tries to like eat you basically. I don't really know how to describe it. It's consume right there. And as you see, it's going to put this healing absorb on me. Now, it is a disease, but the longer I'm in it... Oh, no, that's just my healing ticking down on it. But either way, it is a disease. You can get rid of it. You can get rid of it AMS. And, you know, you can just move out of it, too. It's kind of hard to move out of, though, because it pulls you in. But otherwise, that's pretty much all it does. But as you see, once you kill it, this funny little squirt bot, which is absolutely cute and hilarious name, is going to go over there and just try to basically clean up this area. It's not going to succeed because that's how the boss spawns. But we do have to gnome eating slime as well. I never actually noticed. So they have gnomes in them. Oh yeah, they have like little gnome parts in them. That's pretty grim. But anyway, we have to kill all this trash here because you really don't want to aggro this with the boss. Long story short, that little blob just makes a bunch of droplets, and this thing does a slime. It does that wave there. You can grip that thing back, by the way. Really nice. Any mob that charges away as a blood DK, you can just grip it, and then it just wasted its time, basically. So I like to do those 2, and then these 3. And here's another new mob, this toxic lurker. This mob has a very important interrupt on it. You'll probably see it here. These slime bolts, they look like they could be interrupted. There it was there. It was going to stun Cop if you let that go. It's a channeled stun. So I believe you could probably interrupt it with grip, stun, maybe root. Well, not root, but you know, anything that could stop a cast. You can probably do it. I've never tried to grip it. Just interrupt it. Like, that's all I do. But otherwise, yeah, these elementals are just going to have some cast too you're going to want to interrupt. But overall, this trash is not very dangerous. It's just these blobs that are a pain, because especially on necrotic, this is really bad. These mobs like spawn like 6+ mobs or whatever it is, and yeah, getting that many melee is not ideal, but doesn't really matter. So there's that suffocating slime. So that's channeling on Cop right now. He's being stunned, and he's also taking nature damage. And at any point, I could interrupt this, but I'm going to let him suffer for not interrupting it himself. Like, you got to let them learn. The DPS, it's on them to do these things. You know, they have to learn, right? See, he got it. He interrupted it that time. That's Cop, man. He learns quick, dude. He's a quick learner.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem. All right, so anyway, you want to go around the left here because there's another one of these robots here. As you see, another shock bot, which, again, is just free damage. If you do this dungeon with no damage dealers having shock bots, then you're basically just giving up free time. Like, there's not anything in the game that's going to equate like another interrupt. Keep it up, Cop. Anyway, there's nothing in the game that's going to equate to this much free damage in any other dungeon. So you really want to make sure all your damage dealers have this as possible, and that's going to require no deaths, because if any of them die with it, then that's it. Well, there's a bunch coming up in the future. We'll see them. So you should have a couple by the end of the dungeon. But yeah, Cop, you can go get that. Good. Now, careful. Now, this patrol is pretty wide. It's a little bit complicated, but again, on things like bolstering and you know, other fixes that you wouldn't want to combine trash on, you got to be careful here. This thing's slow, but if you aggroed it and bolstered it, or you drop a bunch of sanguine, it's going to be a real problem. So, yeah, again, just killing one of these, you got to kill 3 of them total. The other one's over there in the water, but obviously, you know, just take them as they come. Consume again. So we're just gonna get this plague. It's gonna be a healing absorb, and whatever. You can just dispel it, or you can move out of it. I don't know. As long as you're not in it, I think it does some damage, obviously too. So pretty much it. But yeah, we're gonna combine the rest here. There's another bot over here. That's a grease bot. Probably want to get that. So I like to grab these few here. Probably get this like pack of 4 mobs. Maybe use a little CD here. Depends on how dangerous the trash is this week. You could easily combine all of this and not have to worry about it. The cop's got the grease bot, which is... Where's that at? I want to make sure I read it. Grease bot, movement speed increased by 10% and haste increased by 5%. So it's really good for a blood DK. If you're playing the Blood Death Knight, you probably want to go ahead and get that one too. Make sure you have that. Even probably better than having it on DPS, because movement speed on a tank is actually a big deal. So anyway, final one here. Just going to kill this thing. Just pull it out of the water. You don't really want to fight it in the water, because if you're swimming, you can't get out of the mechanic very easily. Consume mechanic, that is. So you see it here. Let's run, and this time we won't even get the debuff, as you see. Just get out of it, and we're actually standing in some other mechanic. I think that's from the mobs dying. Toxic fog. I think that's from that eye stalk looking dude. Find out. I'm gonna kill him. I want to make sure. I guess when that mob dies, it puts this cloud down. So we'll see if that's true or not. Let's kill this thing here too. But anyway, as you see, there's just a ton of trash up there that like you would never go to. It's really, I don't know why it's even in the game. I mean, it's just there because it was a 0, I guess. Karazhan was kind of like that too, I guess, right? There's a lot of extra trash.
I think because it's actually mimicking the island, the entire island, right? So they want to populate it.
It's a fair enough point, yeah. Yeah, so when this mob dies, it also does this toxic fog. Healing reduced your C by 50%. I literally didn't know this was a thing, so I'm glad we checked that out. So make sure that you're not standing in that, okay? But otherwise, here's what I believe to be the hardest fight in here, for sure. This fight is really complicated, and it's probably going to be a little odd when we do it here today, 2-man. So let's talk about it. It's basically only got one real mechanic, and it's that these robots are your lifeline. If they are not helping you, you're not going to be able to do this fight. Everything that he touches turns to gunk, effectively, like a little blob of gunk. And the robots cleanse it for you. They basically they have a little water thing around them. It's kind of like, you ever play Mario Sunshine Cop?
I haven't, but I've seen it.
Very good game. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this dungeon. But either way, they basically are Mario Sunshine. So you just want to make sure that they continue to shoot water. Let's put it that way. And if they ever get turned into a blob, then you got to break that blob. The problem is, if you touch any of the green stuff on the ground, you become blob. Now, what do you think about that?
I don't like being blobbed.
Cop does not like blob, so it's not really an ideal situation. And I can tell you this, if 5 people become blob, boss kills you, right? I mean, that's it. The fight's over. You're stuck. Everybody's stuck. Now, there's a couple small optimizations you can make, but basically, I like this fight as bloodlust. So this is actually a really good thing here. Usually, if you lusted on the first boss and you have the second, you're pretty much going to have lust again here. So it depends, I guess, on the key level and everything. But let's take a look at him. The thing is, one of these bots always kind of meanders into melee. So starting the boss right here, usually this one kind of gets there quick. So let's just see what happens. As you see, it kind of starts walking forward, where the other ones kind of walk side to side. There's one really far away, and then these two kind of like cross paths. And these are kind of like maybe like mid-range. But as you see, this green bot, this green thing, if you were in this, there you go. So that one got eaten. You got turned into it. So you can just throw, any ranged ability at it, and it's going to get broken. It's going to continue to shoot water everywhere. And now this coalesce mechanic, this is kind of important. It's going to pull you in, but Death Knight, you're just going to pop Death's Advance, and there you're good. If you get pulled into him, though, watch this. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to get pulled in. See, I'm goop now. So Cop has to break it, and he does successfully. Good work, man. But yeah, obviously you don't want to be goop, and unless you're Billy, I guess. But yeah, so just break them. It's kind of tough with no range, honestly. Because, like, otherwise the healer, he's going to have to stack up. You're going to have to move a lot in this fight, one way or the other. You could take one of the... Oh, yeah, so you ran outside. So you definitely always want to stay in this water thing. Like, you don't ever want to be outside of this water thing. Because if you are, then you're going to get gooped. You know what I mean? Anytime you get hit by green stuff, you get gooped. So that time the robot got gooped. And if we stood in that, we'd get gooped. And then we'd probably die. But I'm actually too far away from the boss. So that's a unique problem on this fight. Somebody has to be in melee range. So, yeah, you wanted to stay in that water at all times. And since you're not able to get in that far when you got to come over to this one, you really don't ever want to be outside of that water. It's just not worth it. Just stay in it the whole time, because otherwise you're gonna definitely, you're gonna be in trouble. But either way, yeah, it's just, you know, so the range one moves pretty slow, much farther away. So it moves pretty slow. You can just kind of range, you can kind of stay in that one. And that one, you know, gets scooped, and then it's tough. Like, if the ranged are out there, probably not going to, like, the melee's not going to run out there and help them, right? The hell am I talking about? Some demon hunter. So that dude's not running out there to help, so it's just, yeah, unenviable position. This is a really tough fight for range DPS, just because you're going to have to move a lot, and you're probably going to be on an island if you're out there by yourself, so. Anyway, next up we're going to an obelisk, which again, only part of 10 and higher, but it is a very, very, very important part of this dungeon. Now, it depends on when you have come from Gunker, but again, you see this weaponized crawler. This is the mob I was talking about before. This patrols from up here all the way down there, so you can skip this very easily. But the thing is, we don't want to do this yet, okay? I want to use this spire to skip to these other spires, and that's not mandatory, but I like to do that. So basically, if Gunker was third, that's what we do. We'd then come here and do that, and then we would go to these other spires, and we'd do the route from there. But instead, we have to go to Bondo's yard first. So let's just kill this thing just to kill it and get it out of the way. But typically what I would do is I would take this mob to one of these spires and use that to basically go spire, 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 and then just skip all the trash in between. But again, oh wow, that just got one shot. But Twilight Devastation. Anyway, not a video on Awakened, so you know, or on the route really. We're just talking about the dungeon overall and what a new player might have trouble with. But yeah, this is one of them, honestly. This obelisk is kind of in a weird spot, and I think a lot of people might miss it, honestly. Like, if you're doing this for the first time and you're not sure what's going on with the Awakened, you honestly might forget this one. And it's not the end of the world if you forget one, especially on a lower key. But obviously you don't want to do that. Now, something else that's kind of, oh yeah, so there's that. All right, so let's kill this thing. We're gonna see this thing on another part of the dungeon. But as you see, this scrap cannon, big AoE or big damage in front of the tank. Also does this here, shock coil. This is what's really dangerous. Does a lot of nature damage. I don't know if it can be purged or anything like that. But as you see, scrap cannon on Cop there. I don't think he could have dodged that, but other people are going to want to dodge it for sure. And that's pretty much it. It's got a high health pool, and it's going to do a shock coil here. Yeah, I don't think you can't get rid of that, right? So it's just going to do a lot of nature damage. As you see, even on this difficulty, it's shredding. It's shredding real hard. So pretty dangerous stuff, and yeah, just dispatch it if you have to. You're gonna have to fight at least a couple of these throughout the dungeon, but that one particularly you probably want to skip. So anyway, if we're not using that obelisk, we're coming back here, and now we're gonna do this trash. Now this Bondo's yard area, I really want to clear 100% of this yard out because it's just too risky not to. I've seen people skip things here and there, and you could probably skip this pack especially because you could just kind of go in over here. Like, there's a couple areas of entry right here. You can kind of like jump this fence, but it's just not worth it. You could probably not even do that. You could probably just like hug here too. Yeah, you can literally skip that. But anyway, we're not going to do that. We're going to pull it. And again, it's more just fodder trash. Like, there are mechanics, but basically these mobs just hate being auto attacked by you. Like, see, they're going to run and gun. So great death grip target. Great thing for Ursul's Vortex. Ring of Peace even to get them back. Anything like that. They just try to really, they like to separate. Let's put it that way. These mobs really don't like to stay still, and they don't like to be auto attacked by you. So they're going to run away a lot, and that can cause some problems. I don't think I've ever seen one run into another pack, but there's another one of those crawlers there and there, so you really don't want them running into a pack. So this is a good tip here. This pack is going to be similar mobs here. So what I like to do is stand right against this fence here, and then Gore Fiends, which I don't have macroed properly, but anyway, yeah, if you stand right against this fence, you're just close enough to Gore Fiends them together. Like, if you fought them right there, the odds that they ran into one of those crawlers is very high. So just kind of taking them to this side is what I've been looking at as like, okay, that's good enough. Now they definitely aren't going to run in here. But this Bondo's yard area has an absolute ton. What does this saw blade go to? I didn't get to see it, but either way, another part of the trash. This Bondo's yard has a ton of these little bots around. Do you still have shock bot? All right, I'm going to grab this one. But yeah, so make sure, again, everybody has these bots. There's a lot of them here. And that's another reason why I like to clear out 100% of this area. You don't have to kill this mob either, but I like to. And again, there's two bots up here. One's actually patrolling around this crawler. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to pull that one. So I figure, you know, you kill one weaponized crawler. Why not kill three? It's not the end of the world, but on a high fortified key, you're going to feel the damage in this mob. It does a lot of damage. It's probably the highest damaging trash mob, like single trash mob, that the game really can throw at you, honestly. It reminds me a lot of the Mariners. from King's Rest, or from Maw of Souls, if you remember that dungeon. So yeah, basically one thing to think about here, if you can't, like if you already have the buff, the bot is not clickable. So if you ever see a clickable buff, that you can get it. You can't accidentally get the wrong buff. Now here's a patrol. This is a really dangerous patrol. And I like to combine it with another pack, but not to my benefit many times. Like I die all the time to this. So we're just going to pull this pack first. And again, just basically a bunch of mobs that just are going to try to run away from you. This metallic jaws ability, it does a lot of damage. They have this bork. It's kind of like a joke because it's instead of barking, it's borking. What do you think of that humor?
Very juvenile.
Juvenile. Okay, I agree. So anyway, just dodge that. This mob is actually harder than it looks. It's pretty dangerous, this dog mob. So yeah, more bots to our right here. We got even another bot. What is this? Another shock bot? Yeah. So shock bots all over the place. And here comes the pat. I knew that was gonna happen. So anyway, this again, there's really nothing to say about this pat. It's just a bunch of trash that sucks. It hits really hard and it does a lot of damage. There's this overclock interruptible ability. You want to do that. Dodge these grenades, these red things on the ground. Repair. You don't want to let. I mean, unless you're repairing your gear. I mean, that never sounds good, right? You don't want to repair. You can't repair that. That's going to heal it. So you don't want that. Just kind of keep them all gripped together. Really good time to come in here with big CDs and just kind of pull 2 packs at once.
Or usually just use Twilight Devastation.
Oh yeah, or use Twilight Devastation if you guys haven't seen the spell. It's doing work. But anyway, yeah. So what is this scrapper here? Chance to inflict an additional fire damage. Oh, that's interesting. So I don't know. But yeah, the mobs are relatively dangerous, and they just do a lot of stuff. They do a bunch of pesky stuff. Overclock. So let's see that go out. Haste increased by 100%. So that's much haste, and as you see, it gets the cast off. So now I guess they repaired one of the mobs. I don't know. It's really not that big of a deal. Just kill the stuff. Basically, I don't know. I look at this trash as just fodder. I really do. It's pretty straightforward. There's not any one mechanic that you definitely need to know. But anyway, you're going to want to clear all this out because this boss is a real pain. It's going to do all kinds of weird stuff. So we missed this pack. We're going to come back here and get this. Another one of these mechanics. These are the shield bash mobs. They're just going to, do some damage, I guess. I don't know. Really, it's so inconsequential. I actually don't know what most of the stuff does. Just make sure you're interrupting the overclock and the repair. That's the big thing in this area, and getting as many of these bots as possible. There's another bot back there, another welding bot over there, and there's another grease bot over there. So in this area, what we saw, a total of like 8 bots. Yeah. So once you're in this area, you can come here first. Maybe it's a good play. Maybe that's the case to come here first. If it's open, maybe you want to come here first. I don't know. That's not the way I've been doing it. You can do it whatever way you want. That's not really the focus of the video, but yeah, maybe it's a good idea to come here and get bots for like, a ton of bots. But anyways, let's talk about this boss. This boss is really odd. Basically, I think the thing that you definitely want to know is that this Nano Mega Crash dude, he's going to like ride around on his little bike thing. And if you get hit by this bike, you die effectively. It does a lot of damage, and it's a knockback. It's just all bad. And I'd say getting hit by it is a real big problem. And people get hit by it all the time. It's probably the biggest mistake I see made in this dungeon, besides randomly pulling trash that we're trying to skip. But it's really, like, just please, if you fight this boss, don't get hit by this thing. It does so much damage, and it puts you in a really bad position. But other than that, I mean, the mechanics are all pretty self-explanatory. I think the big thing that people probably overlook on this fight is that this chick literally can be interrupted like 100% of the time. I think the ideal way to kill this fight is just interrupt every single one of her casts. But yeah, I don't know how realistic that is. So let's just see. You see they're going to do a couple mechanics. They're basically going to help each other out. And if they don't die at the same time, they get a huge buff. So that Tase cast, this electric shot slide is going to do a bunch of damage. As you see, Cobb gets hit by that. It's just, I mean, even on a 2, that hit from about 20% of his health. But the main thing here, you're going to see this Dust Cloud mechanic again. Something like that. Just Tase, let's see, it does a little bit of damage. Oh, it actually stacks a dot. That's right. So yeah, you really want to interrupt this. Like, really want to interrupt this. Because it's going to stack this dot on you, and that's not good. Let's put it that way. So this boss is pretty, this could be sneaky OP, man. This boss is pretty dangerous. That Mega Tase right there, as Cobb, he already knows the mechanic. You're just going to run in that Dust Cloud, and then it can't hit you. Otherwise, it's just regular Tase, so it's not Mega. Not Pokemon, obviously. But yeah, you can just dodge that and go in the Smoke Cloud. And yeah, I mean, realistically, it's pretty dangerous, as you see. But yeah, so the big thing here is that mechanic. I'm telling you right there. People they forget about it. Like, they see him go over there, and they just forget. You can still attack him over there, and you could certainly still be hit by him. So that's the main thing. Just make sure you're dodging this dude at all times, or you're gonna end up on the floor like Cop has twice now. But yeah, ideally, usually a lot of people kill her first, just kind of because the other guy is pesky, frankly. Like, I don't think anybody intentionally kills her first, even though it'd probably be the better choice. But now you're gonna see what happens when we kill this guy, and when we kill her, and this guy's still up. So you're gonna see turbo boost, inflicting 39,000 nature damage to all players on each successful melee attack. So I'm not even gonna rest Cop because he's just gonna die again to that. This is not good. Like, the longer this guy is alive with this buff, the harder this fight is. So you really want to keep them even, and if you don't, you're gonna need a lot of healing on the last part of this fight. But frankly, like, it's fine as long as he's not like, you know, like 50% or something like that. You just continue to dodge and continue to fight and continue to heal. So not that big of a deal. But
Or continue to die like me.
that's fine. You know, got 5 battle reses. Might as well use them. Okay, so now we're done with all the trash. We have 96% count. We still got a lot of stuff ahead of us here. So let's talk about what we want to do. Oh yeah, go get some bots while we talk about this. What we want to do here is not run through this area. There's this like pack of stealth mobs. I guess we'll show it off. But there's a lot of robots in here. It's kind of like a bait. Like it's like, oh, look at this very enticing area with no trash that you could just run through. But there's actually trash here. So let's see if we could find some. I'm not exactly sure. You're kind of just stealth, yeah. Mechagon Prowlers. This is probably the hardest mob type in the game. And it's because of that jump mechanic there. I believe that does splash damage. And it does a lot of damage, for sure. It's physical, apparently, so... Yeah, even worse if you're a clothy or something like that. But running through this area looks like a great idea, but it's really not, because you're gonna have a lot of these cats. Let's see if we can find some more, just to kind of show off. I guess they're kind of just padding around. I don't exactly know where they are, but I've come in this area and had like 4 of them on me at once. So yeah, there's the 4 of them. Okay, so there we go. We got that 1 and then these 3. So they're gonna jump all over the place. They're gonna do some crazy stuff. And basically they just do a ton of damage. So really you want to not fight these mobs if you can avoid it. I don't think you want to intentionally fight these mobs under any circumstance. I don't think you want to route for them. I don't think you want to come to this area. But you know, maybe some people do. It's really not that bad on most beats, I'm sure. But anyway, let's go ahead and get... oh yeah, no, we already did that. Okay, so that's fine. So if we kill the obelisk, here's another way to do the rest of this dungeon. Now let's talk about what you don't want to do, alright? You don't want to just ride up through this. Here's a Mechagon Trooper, which is a really complicated mob type that I could explain, but frankly, you should just not fight this mob. And I know that's not going to happen if you're doing a 10 or below a 10. Basically, I don't know. I mean, let's just kill it just so we can show it off. But really, you don't want to fight this trash. Like, this is the hardest trash here, and fighting it is just really time inefficient. So it does this rapid fire, which is going to just kind of shoot in like an area, and he's just going to turn. And then this other mob is going to do this enlarge. So if he puts the enlarge on the cavalry's just going to destroy you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really hard synergies. Some of these some of these mechanics, they're really dangerous, and they're really punishing if you fuck them up. So better to just not fight them. Honestly, I really think you should skip these, even if it meant like invis potting. And then this pack here is definitely, I mean, I'm telling you, this dungeon, some of these dungeons are legitimately easier as a 10, and I think people who have done 9s and then 10s would agree with that. This is definitely the hardest pack in the dungeon. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I guess we'll fight it just to show you, but I mean, this is really a no-go pack. Like, you do not want to fight this pack. It would be better to probably death skip. It'd be better to probably do anything else. Just charge coil, like interrupt that, dodge the rapid fire, stop the enlarge. I think it's a magic debuff, so you might be able to get it off. I don't really know because I never fight this trash. But yeah, this is like, first of all, you're going to be way over count if you pull this pack. And you're probably going to die because you're doing a low key. So that means somebody's probably not going to move out of the rapid fire mechanic or die to something else on the pack. But yeah, as you see, this guy is enlarged. It is magic, so it can be purged. Health and damage increased by 100%. Skip the pack. Fight not the pack. I don't know, man. Not a good idea. And then the shrink mechanic, that's on Cop now, so he's a low guy. Damage and healing reduced by 99%. And if I move over you, you take damage. Come where you at, man?
Don't damage me!
He's a low guy. Look at that, man. See how dead he is? Look at that. So Bay, maybe you guys don't want to fight this pack. Have I said that? Did I bring that up yet?
Yeah, I think you might have said that.
Yeah, don't fight this pack, guys. Just skip it. I don't know. I feel bad for you if you're doing a 9, because I don't know what you're going to do. Probably just get farmed by this pack. I mean, this is almost worse than the pack in front of Workshop, the last boss of Workshop. I don't know. I think you probably just... I think this guy also has True Sight too, so I think you can't even shroud it. I think you legitimately have to fight this pack, other than Death Skip. I don't know what other the options are, but anyway, just go do 10s. They're not that hard. So anyway, I'm gonna show you where we're gonna make another skip, but wait for Cop so he doesn't, because Cop's not. I mean, I don't want to talk out of turn here, but you're not great with directions. Is that right?
That's correct. I get lost in a closet.
Okay, it looks like he's taking an odd route. Let's see what he does. He's in his native environment, guys. He's lost. He's gonna have to find a way around those 2 mobs there. How's he gonna do it? A couple options. Got plenty of options. He's making one of probably the smarter choices. Here we go. He's going around the edge there.
Oh, I can go through Bondo's yard.
Bondo's yard. Yeah, we've been here before. Sounds familiar, right?
We cleared it.
Come right through. Yeah, there's literally like a couple different entrance points, so that's good. I'm glad you found that.
Assistance protocol.
I'm just gonna get a couple of these spark bots in the way because I had it like 4 of them, and then somebody walked over me and killed me, and now I don't have any.
Well, who would have that been? I don't know.
And now I pulled mobs that I didn't need to.
So you're gonna die again. See, this is the life, man. This is this is a pain in the ass, man. This dungeon's got a lot of trash.
Yes.
A lot of stuff in it that you can pull by accident. If you pulled, let's put it this way, if you pulled everything that we pulled by accident here, you'd be at probably like 150% before the end here. We pulled probably about 5 or 6 different packs that we didn't need to pull. We didn't kill them all, but yeah, we pulled them one way or the other. And there you go, full health heal. Cop AFK thinking about repair bots and shit. Doesn't interrupt mobs, full health. That's it. He's over. Your Demon Hunter from Illidan, he's probably leaving after that mistake. So don't make these mistakes. A lot of mistakes to make in this dungeon.
Yeah, I only take Demon Hunters that are from Fire Tree and are so corrupt that they remind me of the Houston Astros.
The Houston, I have to say, guys, if you're a fan of the Houston Astros and you're still defending their, maybe we shouldn't bring that up here.
No, not the place, but that's okay.
All right, so I'll show you this little back way here. This is how you would go if you weren't going to, basically, if there's no obelisk, then, I don't know, you shouldn't really even do this, but if you're trying to get to this obelisk without the other obelisk, that's what you do. You can pull this mob solo and almost one-shot it with Twilight Devastation, but yeah, you can pull this mob solo. Probably want to do that. This charge coil just does a bunch of damage, right? I don't even know. Let's see what it actually does. Unleashes a bolt of lightning every 1.5 seconds. Yeah, so it's just the same mechanic from this robot, that other robot mob. You definitely want to swerve that one, and then you're gonna have to pull this. Usually I'd come here and need a little bit of count, so we'd pull both of these packs. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, whatever. But we're just here to get the obelisk, because you really can't skip this one. Now, on like configuration A, which is this week, the spider's over here. So a lot of times I'm trying to skip the spider. Fighting the spider on the last boss is fine, like it's perfectly fine. But I'm going to show you what to do anyway. So you're going to go in here, you're going to kill, this is the fear one, so you're going to kill these ads, even though after they nerfed them, they're still dangerous. You still want to kill them first for sure. You don't want to kill them last, because obviously you're trying to use the dude to skip, so don't do that, right? Just kill the ads, and try not to get feared. Obviously it's going to be tough when we have no healer, but whatever, they nerfed that too. Then you're just going to drag this dude over. You want to end, I'm going to show you where you want to end here. It's pretty good. You get AMS the fear, by the way. It's just a magic fear, so only 2 seconds. Only lasts 2 seconds now, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, you're going to drag this dude. You want to land him up here, and I'm going to show you why. You fight him anywhere. If you land anywhere else here, you're going to pull more trash. But yeah, we're going to take him up here on this little platform here, because then you can jump down. There's actually another bot here too. So last chance to get some bots. Kind of to get feared though. Obviously, if you're a healer, you're going to win the spell. What else? Cyclo kill this thing. But yeah, that's it. So you're going to come out on top here, and I'm going to show you why. There's actually a patrol that you really want to dodge. As you see, it's right here. Another cavalry patrol. So again, I think it's legitimately better to just sit here and wait for this pack. But you can also just do this. You can also just pull it here, which is what I keep doing that. Yeah, you can just pull it back here, and then the patrol is just going to walk right by you. So, as long as the patrol is not going to aggro when you aggro this pack, then you can just do this. But again, there's another prowler here. So this is the only, if you do this route, this is the only prowler that you actually have to and should fight. But then, more bots here. A couple more bots, actually. There's 3 bots. Wow. 3 bots right here? Oh, jeez. Cop can get some more. But again, just wait. Do not aggro this pack. It's got a cavalry guy in it, so just wait. It's better to wait. Ideally, you just get lucky and you don't have to wait, but you can kind of just hedge your bets and wait, and that's that. Now we get the spider. Now this is absolutely paramount here. If you don't do this right, if you mess this up, you're done. What we're doing here, whatever the last obelisk you're fighting is, I don't care, whatever one you want. If you're gonna skip the spider and fight him with the boss, then it's the other obelisk. I don't care, whatever order you're doing them in. The last obelisk you're fighting, you need to use to skip that pack. The pack we talked about before, the pack that Cop somehow got trampled to his death. I don't know. I mean, that's just how hard the pack is. He dies randomly. You want to get this guy up here. You want to use this to skip. So this is like a guaranteed. This is a really nice little skip here, and you can do it anywhere. It doesn't really matter as long as it's somewhere up here. Just dodge these plus whatever these big green circle things. You don't even have to kill the spider things. Those little ads, they just kill themselves. Otherwise, interrupt this as often as possible in case you don't know these mobs. They alternate a cast, and you just want to interrupt every single one. So Cop's gonna get the next one. Boom, failed the interrupt. No big deal. He got it, but he missed it. Whatever. Anyway, that's fine. Just make sure the mob dies up here. It's all that matters. Just skip that pack and get here to the last boss. Now this last boss, you think we're done. Well, we're not done. We got a lot to talk about here. This is probably one of the most complicated fights in the game. Not very difficult, but very complicated. So the fight is and it's probably gonna be even more complicated if you got the spider. So maybe you shouldn't have the spider. But either way, let's talk about this guy. So that like mechanic I was talking about, that walkie-shockies thing or whatever, that's gonna be there now, and it's going to be probably the most annoying part of the fight. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but again, you want to dodge them. They're just gonna be kind of walking around. There's gonna be this giant blue circle around the boss. Let's put it that way. And if you go out of that circle, you get gripped back into it, I believe is how it works. You can't leave it. I know that much. And there's going to be this line. He's going to shoot the boss, like, is actually this thing. The actual boss is the aerial suppression unit, or oppression unit. I keep saying suppression, but he's going to, like, shoot these, like, lightning thing on the ground. If you get hit by that, you die. And then you can also get stunned by those robots, and then you might get hit by the thing that I made a cool hand gesture to signify, which Cop didn't see because he can't see my camera. But anyway, yeah, long story short, just move from things. But the real problem here is that this guy does like this really heinous tank mechanic. It's called wreck, which, I mean, it makes sense. When you get wrecked, it hurts. But obviously, I don't really know how you dodge it. So there's that. He does this fulminating zap, which is actually nature damage. So that's just a healing mechanic. So this wreck, as you see, every time he hits me with it, I'm going to take 100% more damage from it. But I guess I can parry it, because he's supposed to hit you 3 times with it, but he doesn't always hit me 3 times with it. And there's those stupid walkie-shockies. So let's just get hit by that. Let's see what happens. So yeah, Ring is really good for this fight, definitely. Obviously, Druid Roots are really good. You can also grip them together. But, I don't know. Kind of just move from them. Just a lot of movement. That leaves electricity on the ground, too. And that's pretty dangerous. Okay, now before we do anything, I want to talk about what's happening here, because this is why it's so complicated. So now, in order to continue fighting the boss, we have to do this mechanic, and we have as long as this annihilation ray casts. It's like, what, 170 seconds? I don't know. So what's that, 3 minutes or something like that? So we have 3 minutes to do this. So the way you do it is you just run up. You got to look where it is first. Like, it's not predetermined, so you have to know where it is. Then you got to run up here, and basically, you just got to dodge all this stuff. And it kind of makes it complicated, but you can actually jump over this. Well, I guess not. But either way, oh no, maybe it's this you can jump over. Yeah, you can jump over this. You could actually jump over this. I don't know why you would, but you know, if you want to speed it up, you can. Don't jump over that. You can't jump over that. But that just stuns you. That's not the end of the world. But if you get hit by that bot, like Cop, I'm really glad you showed that off, Cop. Thanks. Yeah, you get sent back to the start, and that's far away. You don't want to be at the start. You want to be at the finish. And then once you get up to the finish, you're going to want to click this thing here, and you need to channel a bunch on this thing. It's got an energy bar. We got to get it to 0. It's going to take a long time with 2 people. You only take 1% off per second of channel. And again, if you get hit by these robots, you get sent back to the beginning. So I bet there's probably a little place that you could stand here that makes it really easy. I don't really know, but maybe you can kind of like stand on the edge there. That's probably the place, right? Like, if you kind of like stand right here, see how far away you can. It's pretty close. You have to be pretty close. You kind of just like duck in. I don't think that's faster. And then just come right back. That's probably the way to do it. I don't know. But you do take damage while you're up here. Cop's gonna die again. No surprise.
It's what really? I do.
Anybody surprised? Type surprised in the chat if so. But it takes a really long time. And this is really bad because now he's dead up here. I can't res him. I don't have enough runic power. and I'm not running all the way back up here to res him. So now we're finishing the fight alone. Suboptimal. As you see, I got stunned, so now I'm back at the start. This part sucks, really does.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, you can just jump over that if you're actually capable, unlike me.
Or me.
Well, that's a different story. But anyway, quickly get up there back again, and we'll finish this up. But I'm gonna have to do this probably maybe 3 or 4 times alone, so it's really a pain. And these just alternate, so while you're sitting here waiting, you want to make sure that you're not getting hit by them where they spawn, because that's not good. Maybe I should go get runic power. Although this cast is almost over, I don't actually know what happens if you fail to do this before this cast ends. Annihilation rate. It makes me think I'm just gonna get one shot. I mean, that's very possible.
We may have to very well have to do this fight twice.
20 seconds. I think we're just gonna find out. Yeah, let's just find out. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never had this happen before, but like if you have a bunch of people die, it's very possible that that could happen. Also, something else down here. You can't be down here while he's doing this annihilation rate. Maybe the fight maybe just ends. Actually, it might just end.
Yeah.
We'll see. 5 seconds. Let's find out. But yeah, you take a ton of fire damage. 123,000. I wonder if that's based on the key level. That's a lot. I'm gonna die. Yeah, okay. Just get one shot. So there you go. You have to do this in that amount of time, otherwise you fail. I think it was like 180 seconds. So what's 180 seconds? How much?
3 minutes.
3? Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, Cop's the mathematician. I'm not. So 3 full minutes, yeah, for this. And yeah, obviously, if it takes longer than 3 minutes, let's just kill this. If it takes longer than 3 minutes, then one, somebody's dead for sure. There's no way you can't do that for 3 minutes and not have deaths. 2, the group's probably disbanded, so you're done. The XP's over. Or if 3, you're soloing it. I mean, one of the two. I mean, I can't think of a realistic time where that would take more than 3 minutes, but we just found one, so we'll find out. Yeah, so we're gonna have to actually do it right. I mean, I want to show you the fight, but basically, once you complete that, he takes, I think it's like 100% extra damage. It might even be more than that. He gets destroyed. So this is a really good time to lust as well. You know, if you lust there, you can easily kill him in one phase. Unlike a vast majority of keystone difficulties, as long as the group is like legit, like they know what they're doing and they can do good damage, you can easily kill him in one phase. It's not going to happen here, obviously, but you can do that quite easily. Maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see. Monk is actually really
devastation.
good. What's that?
Twilight devastation.
But actually, Monk is really, really good for this because like they're all burst, right? Like touch of death. Yeah. So like huge burst when the boss is taking that much more damage. So let's see if we can actually do this right this time. So yeah, hopefully we won't have any deaths. But yeah, you just gotta get this dude to 0, which, you know, you want to make this go quick, but like using CDs and stuff, like it's kind of questionable because like if you use something and it's not back up for this boss and you fail to kill him, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, that would be bad. He takes like a ton of extra % damage, but then he kind of lingers for a few seconds as well. Like, it doesn't just go away immediately. He casts like he's casting something, he's like stunned or whatever, and then he's kind of like still there for a couple seconds. So if you don't finish him by the time that 100% damage thing is gone, it's not like you could still finish him. I've had that happen a lot. You have like, you probably like, as long as you get him to like 5%, you could still finish it. So now it's this side again. So let's quickly get up there. I would definitely heal yourself if you can, because if you die again, we're done. We can't do this. Just do whatever you can to stay alive. So you can like just hop this real easy, like that. Boom. Now you're gonna come up here. Boom, boom, boom. Navigating like a little race car. Dodging that. Gotta wait for the right time to pass. Now is the time. Let's go. Now we're gonna channel. Here we go. Channeling. It's gonna take 100 seconds alone. Obviously, every one person channeling is gonna make it quicker. But yeah, just gotta find a place where you don't have to, you know, you could kind of stand still for a bit. And it's not always the easiest thing to do. Where are you at? How are you making it?
I hit a bot and went back to the beginning.
Perfect. He's testing out those mechanics. I'm showing the proper way, so that's good. Make sure you guys check out Cop's channel too to see how not to do it. Keep dodging. Okay, Cop's up here. He's stunned, but he's gonna make it. Once you're stunned, it's not a big deal. It means you're still up here. Now it's gonna go a lot quicker. We still have plenty of time. We got over 1.5 minutes left. Just make sure we don't get picked by these bots here. Wait for them. All right, it's almost over. 28. Oh, nope. See you later. Honestly, at this point, you probably should stay down there. Just stay
Yeah,
down
that's
there.
kind of my point.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
just
thinking.
don't die
right
to
now.
the fire. Just stay down there and get ready to light this dude up. In fact, I've speed potted here before. I don't know if it's better than a DPS pot, but I've speed potted because every second you're not attacking this thing is a huge DPS. So I'm going to do that now. Speed pot. We're getting down there. We're going to pop everything. He takes 200% more damage. So this is where you want to lust. Where's them drums at? Lust. Freaking light this thing up. You got what, 20 seconds or something? 20 some seconds to kill this thing. It should be plenty of time, and as you see here, it's going to be thanks to Twilight Devastation, thanks to Big Monk DPS, and yeah, that's that. So Fire Mage really good for this, Monk really good for this, Windwalker really good for this, really anything that has good burst, so that's the fight. But if you failed to do that, you'd then have to go up to this side, and I think if you failed to do that, you'd then have to go up to the other side again. Like, I don't think it ever ends. I've never done it, but I don't think it does, so let's see what we get in the chest.
I know on Mythic 0, I've had to do it 3 times before.
Dude. You got max, what's that? Max rank Echoing Void? 1.2%?
I think so, yeah.
You want that mace, bro?
Yeah, except for this is the PTR, bro.
Oh, no. All right, anyway, thanks for watching. Any closing comments?
People wonder why I die. One way or another, running with Metro kills me. Take care, everybody. Peace. Cop out.